In the grand hall of celestial harmony on Aetheria Prime, Princess Lyanna Starweave faced yet another suitor, a charismatic diplomat whose family had served the throne for generations. Like the dozens before him over 3 months of formal presentations, he offered power, connections, strategic advantages. Like all the others, he received Princess Lyanna's simple, firm no. The rejections had become legendary. The warrior prince who conquered 3 systems, dismissed before finishing his greeting. The scholar who revolutionized FTL communications, turned away mid-presentation. The merchant lord who could double trade revenues, rejected before making his pitch. Empress Celestara, watching her daughter reject another carefully vetted candidate, showed no sign of forcing the issue. But her advisors were increasingly concerned. The Aetherian succession required the heir to select a consort before ascending to full authority, and continued rejection threatened political stability. Among the various delegations observing was a small human contingent, Earth's diplomatic mission representing humanity's recent, still fragile alliance with the ancient empire. Humans were relatively new to this region of space, barely 3 centuries old compared to the Aetherians' 10 millennia. Their presence at such a prestigious event was diplomatic courtesy rather than expectation of participation. The human delegation included Ambassador Sarah Chen, her small staff, plus a security detail rotating through personnel. Today's rotation included Lieutenant Marcus Webb, a career protection officer whose expertise involved threat assessment and discreet security. Marcus was present purely professionally, standing at parade rest near the human delegation, monitoring for security concerns, being as unobtrusive as possible in a room full of elaborately adorned alien nobility. He wasn't there to seek audience with Princess Lyanna, wasn't involved in the succession drama, just doing his job ensuring the ambassador's safety, while she observed proceedings that didn't directly concern Earth's interests. During a lull between presentations, Princess Lyanna descended from her elevated platform, something that hadn't happened during previous sessions. She was supposed to remain in formal position, receiving suitors rather than approaching attendees. Her movement drew everyone's attention. This break from protocol was unprecedented. She walked past clusters of rejected suitors, past her mother's advisors too shocked to intervene, past various delegations arranged by rank. She stopped directly in front of the human contingent. Specifically, in front of Marcus, who was very much not prepared for a princess to be standing inches away assessing him with intensity that made his security training completely inadequate. Princess Lyanna spoke directly to him, ignoring every protocol. "You, what is your name and why are you here?" Marcus's training provided coherent response. "Lieutenant Marcus Webb, Your Highness. I'm here as part of Ambassador Chen's security detail." His answer was professional, direct, lacking any elaborate formal language Aetherian customs typically required. Lyanna's next question caught him completely off guard. "Are you married, Lieutenant Webb, betrothed, committed to anyone who would object to your presence here being repurposed?" The question was inappropriate on so many levels that Marcus's brain temporarily stopped processing. Ambassador Chen looked like she was trying to determine whether to intervene or pretend this wasn't happening. Marcus managed to respond, "No, Your Highness, I'm not married or betrothed." Lyanna turned to her mother, who watched with an expression suggesting she was as surprised as everyone else but far better at hiding it. "This one. I accept this one as my consort." The hall erupted in confused reactions. Shocked murmurs from Aetherian nobility, stunned silence from the human delegation, general chaos. Princess Lyanna, who had rejected dozens of carefully vetted suitors over months, just selected a human security officer she'd met approximately 30 seconds ago. Empress Celestara didn't immediately dismiss her daughter's choice as impulse. Instead, she asked the question everyone wanted answered. "Daughter, explain your reasoning. You have rejected suitors who offer power, wealth, military strength, intellectual brilliance? What does this human possess that made you accept him when you rejected all others? Lyanna's response was delivered with absolute conviction. Every suitor presented offered me something: alliances, resources, capabilities, prestige. They spoke of what they could give the Empire, what advantages their union with me would provide. Lieutenant Webb didn't offer me anything except an honest answer to a direct question. He didn't try to impress me, didn't perform elaborate courtesy, didn't calculate how to phrase his response for maximum political advantage. He simply answered truthfully, without pretense. That honesty, that lack of calculation, that is what I have been seeking and not finding in 3 months of presentations. What followed was simultaneously diplomatic crisis and opportunity. Rejected suitors and their families were outraged. The human delegation was panicking. The Aetherian court was divided between those who saw Lyanna's choice as impulsive foolishness and those who recognized she might have valid reasons. Empress Celestara made a decision revealing why she'd held her throne for centuries. She supported her daughter's choice, conditionally. She announced that Princess Lyanna and Lieutenant Webb would undergo formal courtship period, 6 months where they'd work together on diplomatic duties, determining if Lyanna's instinct was correct. During this period, Marcus would receive education in Aetherian culture, history, and protocols. If at the end both still wished to proceed, the union would be formalized with full imperial authority. This served multiple purposes. It respected Lyanna's choice while allowing space to change her mind, gave Marcus time to adapt to circumstances he was unprepared for, and sent a message to rejected suitors that the princess's decision had imperial support. The courtship period was complicated, beautiful, occasionally awkward. Marcus learned that Aetherian imperial life involved protocols so complex they made human customs look casual, that being consort meant living under constant scrutiny, and that representing all of humanity in this unprecedented situation was crushing. Lyanna learned that Marcus's unpolished honesty wasn't performance. He genuinely spoke his mind with directness her culture found refreshing and sometimes shocking, that his lack of political ambition was real rather than performed humility. But they also discovered genuine compatibility. Marcus's tactical training gave him insights into threats Lyanna's advisors missed. Lyanna's strategic brilliance taught Marcus to see patterns he'd never considered. Over 6 months, the court's initial outrage transformed into grudging acceptance as Marcus proved himself competent in ways that mattered. At the end of courtship period, during the formal ceremony where both must affirm their intent, Empress Celestara asked her daughter publicly whether she maintained her choice. Lyanna's response echoed what she'd said 6 months earlier: yes, then, now, always. She turned to Marcus. When you entered this hall, you were just a guard doing your job. You didn't seek my attention, didn't offer anything except honest answers. Every suitor before you tried to give me what they thought I should want. You gave me what I actually needed. Someone who doesn't perform for me, doesn't calculate how to please me, just exists honestly beside me. Marcus's response was characteristically direct. 6 months ago, you asked if I would object to my presence being repurposed. I said no, but I didn't understand what you were really asking. Now I do, and my answer is still no. But it's an informed no, a no that means yes, a no that means I choose this deliberately rather than stumbling into it. Thank you for seeing something in me I didn't know I had to offer. Months later at a state function, a young noble asked Lyanna the question that still circulated. Why him? Why did you choose a human security officer over princes and warriors and scholars? Lyanna's answer carried the same conviction. Because when I asked why he was here, he told me the truth without embellishment. Every other suitor performed for me. Marcus just answered my question honestly. That honesty in a room full of performance was the most valuable thing anyone has offered me, and 6 months proved my instinct correct. Marcus added, I walked into that hall to do my job. I left as a potential imperial consort because I answered a question honestly, without realizing it was a test I was passing by not trying to pass it. Sometimes the most important things we do are the ones we don't consciously choose. We just respond truthfully, and occasionally that truthfulness reshapes everything.